Hey guys, I'm going to be quickly going over patch 11.11, and at the very end I'm going to give you a list of all the comps that I think are going to be meta. So let's start with the one cost. Okay, here we have a nerf to Udyr and a buff to Vladimir. So Udyr, I don't think it really matters because he's just been an item holder, but Vladimir, I think that's going to make Renewer viable again, but this time with Vlad carry instead of Lissandra, so like you can play Coven and just put Vladimir as your Coven leader. I'll get into this more later when I talk about Morgana, but she also got a buff, so yeah. We're probably gonna see a return in Coven Renewer. Okay, let's get into 2 cost now. And we see a nerf to LeBlanc at 3 stars with her damage and stun duration, but in my opinion, you can't really nerf LeBlanc unless you start messing with her mana. So I don't think that she's gonna be hit that hard. They also increase the chances of hitting 2 costs and 3 costs. So like you're gonna be hitting 3-star LeBlanc really early. She's gonna be easier to hit, easier to play. I've kind of been one-tricking her the past patch without really meaning to, just because everyone's playing skirmishers or Vel'Koz, so that's kind of like the comp that's not really contested most of the time. If you want to see an in-depth LeBlanc guide, just let me know. I can make one, and I kind of know the ins and outs of the comp now, having played it so much. These LeBlanc nerfs really aren't that bad, especially with the buff to Morgana and some Revenant units. You have even more options on what you want to run with her. Let's move on to Sejuani now. So she got a buff, and I feel like this was really necessary because whenever I played 3-star Sedge, she just didn't seem like she did a lot. She didn't help me stabilize when I 3-starred her while playing Cavaliers, and it just felt like a lost cause until I hit 3-star Hecarim. So yeah, I like this buff a lot. Hopefully that makes her do better, but yeah, let's move on to Soraka. So her mana cost was lowered, and like I said earlier, we're gonna see a comeback with Coven Renewer, maybe even with Soraka as the Coven leader, because this really makes her a lot stronger. In the last patch, the way we played Coven Renewer was that as soon as we hit a Heimerdinger, we would usually replace Soraka. But with this buff, I think that she could be a good secondary carry, so like you don't have to replace her with Heimerdinger. You can replace Lissandra instead and try to get a Coven spat, because Lissandra is still weak due to the nerfs from last patch. Okay, let's move on to Trundle now. He got a big nerf, and that's gonna be a blow to skirmishers. The comp was buffed last patch, and so this was to be expected because they're pretty overplayed right now. And the last unit that was changed is Varus. He got a nerf to his 3-star. I did see some people play 3-star Varus instead of Kale in like the 6 Knights comp, and they did really well, so I can kind of see this. But I didn't think it was that strong to the point where it needed a nerf, but okay, let's talk about the 3 cost now. So Lulu got another buff to her 3-star. I think this is gonna be really strong with Aphelios. So like you'll have Kindred and Aphelios as your rangers, and then Kindred and Lulu is gonna give you Mystic along with Morgana. So I feel like Nightbringer is gonna be super strong next patch. If you are able to get 3-star Lulu and Aphelios Morgana both got buffed too, so yeah. That's definitely something to try out or try to abuse when the patch comes out. Next, for 3 costs, we got buffs to Morgana. So yeah, like I said, Nightbringer with Morgana, Lulu as your Mystic, and Kindred, just everybody buffing the Aphelios. That's gonna be really good next patch. Next, we see nerfs to Pantheon. That's to be expected. Nothing much to say. And then here we also see a buff to Nidalee. This is really good because it's gonna bring Dawnbringers back into the meta, and the buff to Riven is gonna help with that as well. Now let's get into the forecast really quick. So Aphelios got a huge buff. This is great. He's gonna do really well with Lulu. Next we see a nerf to Draven at 1 and 2 stars. He was like by far the strongest forecast carry, so I can understand this. And Ivern just got a little bit of a change where Daisy now scales. Karma got buffed at 1 and 2 stars, which she really needed because she just took too long to ramp up, and there were other comps that just bursted you down faster. This is gonna make Karma a viable carry, and I'm excited to see her as well as a few other Dawnbringers start doing better because I've only really just been going for Garen if I'm playing a Dawnbringer unit since he's OP. Next up, we see a nerf to Jax, and they're just trying to nerf skirmishers, so that's to be expected. And we also see a mana increase for Mordekaiser. I still think Mordekaiser is gonna be OP because what people usually build on him nowadays are Warmogs and Shadow Warmogs. And since he goes into the Skirmisher comp as a Dragon Slayer, you can put a Skirmisher spat on him. And with the trait changes to Skirmisher, with them getting like a percent HP shield now, if you have two Warmogs on him and a Skirmisher spat, he's gonna have a huge shield and you're not gonna be able to kill him for a really long time. By that point, the rest of the Skirmishers would have already ramped up in their AD. So yeah, if you're able to get two Warmogs and a Skirmisher spatula on Mordekaiser, he's gonna be a strong tank for that comp. He's gonna start the fight with a huge shield and then continue to have shields. So he's still gonna be really good. Okay, next we see a nerf to Vel'Koz, and this was definitely necessary because whenever you roll a Vel'Koz, you could just buy him and throw him into whatever team you have at the moment just to stabilize, and hopefully now he won't just be a unit you can toss in and basically win the game. So let's talk about the 5 cost now. Darius got all these changes. I'm not going to read them all, but basically he's a better version of what he was, and like I said before, Aphelios is making a comeback. Morgana got buffed. Lulu got buffed. She's gonna go in with the comp really well. And now you have Darius with the change. So yeah, Nightbringers, they're gonna be doing well next patch. Expect them to be one of the top comps for next patch. Okay, next we see Garen got a little bit of a nerf. He was OP, and I still think he's gonna be good because 50% magic resistance shred is still a lot. And he's gonna be casting sooner too. Okay, next we have a buff to Heimer, and like I said before, we're definitely gonna see renewers coming back this patch. You could use Vlad and Soraka as your fill-in Coven leader until you hit Heimer, and once you get him, and he has the Coven bonus as well as Renewer helping him cast, he's definitely gonna be pretty devastating. Okay, next we see Kaale's HP got lowered a little bit. That shouldn't really matter if you build Jay on her, which you should because that's one of her core items, so not much of a change there. And next we see Volibear's starting mana got a lot higher. That's good because there were times I played him with Revenant buff and he still wouldn't get his ulti off. So yeah, he's gonna ult for sure now. And like I mentioned before, this is gonna help LeBlanc because he's gonna be a great frontline for that team. Let's quickly go over the trait changes now. So we have a buff to Abomination. I didn't feel like it was necessary, but I mean, I guess since they nerfed Vel'Koz and this is kind of like his frontline, I guess they have to buff. I watched a video and they mentioned that they buffed A-Bomb because it would fall off late game, but I feel like it should fall off late game because it was just strong early and mid that you would snowball, and I feel like it just stopped at some point, but I don't know. I guess now you can use A-Bomb more freely for frontlining different comps. Okay, next we have a nerf to Nine Forgotten. I'm kind of confused about this because I really don't see anybody playing Nine Forgotten, and I'm playing in like Diamond, high to low Diamond right now, so I don't know. Next we have a nerf to Six Knights, and I can understand this. Six Knights kill was pretty strong, but as I climbed higher, I kind of realized that it wasn't viable anymore. So like when my lobbies were mostly like D2, D1, I couldn't run Six Knights Kale anymore because everybody was either playing A-Bomb Vel'Koz or Skirmishers, and A-Bomb Skirmishers, they both dominate the mid game. So like yeah, I just couldn't keep up or preserve HP as I would before, so but the comp can still be oppressive if you're able to get to that point. I just wouldn't recommend it because I feel like there are going to be better comps next patch, like Renewers and Nightbringers, even Dawnbringers. Lastly, we have the skirmisher change where you get a shield based on your HP now. And like I mentioned before, if you're able to get a skirmisher spat on Mordekaiser with Warmogs, you're basically gonna have an unkillable tank. So yeah, if you want to run that, that's gonna be good. But otherwise, for the other skirmishers, I guess it's kind of a nerf. Let's talk about some changes they made to the game. So at level 6, you get more 2 and 3 stars, and at level 7, you'll hit 3 stars more often, and that's just gonna help you 3-star Lulu and get that juicy attack speed for Aphelios. You're also gonna hit LeBlanc more often as well at level 6 if you want to reroll there. So yeah, really good buffs to those comps. This is also gonna help that Cavalier Spellweaver comp a lot. So you're gonna be able to hit pretty much everybody you need, like Hecarim, Sejuani, Zyra, Victor, and Brand. You can 3-star them all pretty easily rolling on the same level. The best level to roll at for that comp would probably be level 6. Okay, next let's talk about some changes they made to the carousel. So they made it so that carousels with 3 shadow components appear more often. And in my opinion, this is a buff to LeBlanc because when I was kind of one-tricking her, the obstacle, I guess, I came across most often was that I couldn't get a shadow tier off the carousel even if I was first priority because the carousel just wouldn't have it. So yeah, hopefully now it's just easier to get a shadow blue buff. If you play Katarina as your secondary carry while you're playing LeBlanc, this change is also gonna buff her because now you have shadow items to get the rings around Katarina. And the last change they made is to the orbs. So like at the beginning of the game, you'd probably get an orb with a unit and a Nico's help instead of just gold and Nico so that you can have kind of a better start. Alright, let's quickly go over the items now. So from what you see here, Shadow Trap Claw I think is the biggest change. I mean, it was pretty good on your tank, but now it's going to be even better. And Static Shiv got a nerf, Last Whisper got a buff, Shadow Last Whisper, but I don't know, I think the trade-off is still pretty bad, so I still wouldn't recommend building that. Shadow Hextech got changed so that now it'll heal allies that actually need it, so I think this is gonna really help the Cavalier comp, or Brambulance as Mordog calls it. Redemption was nerfed a little bit, but it's not too major. Both Archangel's staff got a buff. I don't think it's really gonna matter that much because there are still better items to go for. But yeah, anyways, Bloodthirster and Deathblade both got buffs, so Nightbringer definitely gonna be really good. Aphelios, if you can get these items on him, he's gonna be really strong. So all in all, the comps that I think are gonna be either OP or just like overtuned this patch are gonna be Nightbringer, Aphelios for sure with Lulu. Then you'll probably see a lot of renewers with like Vlad, Heimer, and maybe even Soraka carry. With the Skirmisher nerf and the buff to a few Dawnbringer units, you're gonna see Karma coming back as well. Then we have LeBlanc. I don't think anything's gonna change really with that comp. It's still gonna be really good and probably easier to play with the carousel change, as well as the buff to Volley and Morgana. She could even be a secondary carry if you play Renewers with Coven. Last but not least, I think that Cavaliers are gonna do really well with the new shop changes. It'll be pretty easy to 3-star them. Alright, that's pretty much all I have for my predictions so far, based on the patch notes. These are all predictions and my opinions, so just take it with a grain of salt. As the patch comes out, people are going to start figuring things out, and who knows what's going to become meta. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like and subscribe, and I'll see y'all next time. Peace.